Okay.
I'm the head of sales here at HelloTeam. I wanted to take the first opportunity to say thank you to the audience for joining us today. Before we go into the demo today, I wanted to provide a little background on who HelloTeam is. HelloTeam is a company that was founded 3 years ago because of the passion that our team has in managing employees. The actual platform itself that we're going to be demonstrating today was created by the vision of our CEO, Tanya Bakalov, who will be demonstrating the technology that is allowing employers and HR professionals for both public and private companies, as well as the organizations such as not-for-profits and educational institutions. You may be able to utilize our tools to make your jobs easier while achieving a great culture that drives revenues, achieves missions, and keeps your employees more engaged at the workplace. Tanya, I will turn it over to you as the audience looks forward to learning more about you and seeing our capabilities of making a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Hello, everyone. My name is Tanya Bakalov, and I'm the founder and CEO of HelloTeam. Thank you for joining our webinar today. Peter and I are very excited to have such a large group of people that are just as passionate as ourselves about the success of our respective employees. A short note about myself. Previously, I was the founder of another company that grew from 2 people to over 500 employees globally. And I wanted to replicate the success of that company with the HelloTeam platform by incorporating a lot of the practices that we were doing daily to engage and retain our employees. And this is how HelloTeam was born, and today we're very thankful for all of the customers that have been trusting us on that journey. So you have our contact information at any point of time that you want to personally reach out to us, please feel free to do so. The agenda for today is as follows. Short introductions of ourselves, which we just did. We're gonna talk a little bit about the mission behind HelloTeam, and then we'll jump into a live demo of the platform, which I'm sure everybody's very excited to see. If you have any questions or requests for one-on-one demos, obviously today we will touch briefly on some of the functionality of the platform, but there is a lot that also goes behind the scenes that people ask us about all the time. Please, again, reach out to team at HelloTeam or to us personally, and we'll make sure to answer your questions promptly. That being said, a lot of the times we talk about that regardless of the industry that we're in, whether it's financial services, technology, healthcare, higher education, nonprofit, building culture is no longer a nice to have for executives. It is a must have. Why? We have more and more people that work remotely and are not part of the everyday conversations that happen around the water cooler, or they're not part of the decisions that we make in our corporate headquarters. And we, as HR professionals, have to work that much harder to communicate frequently to our employees, to ensure alignment, transparency in the vision, the goals, the values of the company. We must stay on top of morale and engagement problems that may occur, make sure that employees receive frequent feedback, and most importantly, frequent recognition, and really feel that they're part of the overall team, regardless of where they're physically located. So in my previous company, I saw that we needed to transform ourselves as HR leaders, from HR to people leaders, because it was no longer just about payroll or benefits or compliance. It was about the talent. And nowadays, the best talent demands the best culture. We also have to help mid-level managers, because they may not have that much training before they became managers, get better at becoming people leaders like ourselves, and teach them how to engage, align, provide feedback, and recognize the employees so they can in turn retain them. So how do you build culture? And when I talk about culture, I talk about everything that has to do with making our people successful. So accountants have accounting software. Software developers have tools to help them develop the best software. We as people leaders need to also evaluate what tools, what solutions, what best practices we need so our team is world class. The HelloTeam platform is built, as you can see, on the 5 pillars for engagement and talent management. And we will review them all today. And as I mentioned, we'll briefly touch upon each one of them and how they interact with each other. And we want to hear your feedback, your questions, and post-webinar as well. So I'm sure everyone is excited to see the demo. So let's jump right into it. All right, so I will be moving forward to our demo and just refresh my screen, make sure that I'm connected. Excellent. So here I will be logged in as Ariana, which is a Chief People Officer, and she has just started in this company demo that we have. And we want to go through the journey of a new employee, just like she would have been if she had started 2 or 3 weeks ago. As you can see, this is our social intranet, which we use to communicate all the information that's relevant to me as an employee and as part of that organization. So I can see the new employees that have just joined in, just like myself. I can see if we're celebrating any birthdays. I can see if there's any anniversaries that are coming up. If I'm the manager of some of those employees, I will be able to see and recognize those employees for the milestone that they have achieved in working for the organization. We can see any promotions that are happening throughout the company, and again, be able to congratulate our respective teammates on their achievements. What I can also see going through the dashboard or the social intranet is I will be able to see all of the recognitions that my teammates or other people throughout the organizations have received. And we call those achievements high fives. However, you'll be able to set this up in a way that speaks to your culture. A lot of our employees customize it to say you rocks or good eggs or whatever other form of achievement they use to make kudos, make employees feel special, and that they're able to socially recognize them and make them visible throughout the company. What you can also post is useful information about the organization as ways for them to find knowledge or videos of the company, post any pertinent news as different notices, as win notices for new clients, or an achievement that you have, as a company, you have been recognized as a top award in your industry, whatever it is. You'll be able also to invite people to different events. And one of most important features is the ability for anybody to take a performance review as a self-evaluation or as an evaluation of other team members, and engage right from the same screen. So only the people that they have to take some action with will appear on their intranet. If we're doing any engagement surveys, they'll also appear right here on the screen. So me as an employee, I will see this daily communication regardless of where I'm at. If I'm working from my home, if I'm around the world in my time zone, I'll be able to feel connected to everybody else in the company, and reduce also the cost and the time to be sending emails for each of these separate items. So going through this part, what else would I be able to do? Oftentimes, one of the biggest pain points in the organization is that there is not an up-to-date org chart. As we all know, it takes a lot of time to keep up with an org chart, with employees moving different departments, people getting different positions, reorganizing the company. So this gives you a way to keep everybody informed what's happening. So it doesn't matter if they start right away, I'll be able to see who reports under me. I have 2 employees, Beth and Sharon. They each also have an employee under them. I can quickly learn something about each one of those employees and how to get in touch with them. And in a little bit, I'll also be able to show you how to understand a little bit more about their background. I can even give them a high five directly from the org chart. One of the things that we also struggle with sometimes is that we're constantly building PowerPoint presentations with up-to-date org charts. With the HelloTeam platform, I can simply click a button and I will be able to print out my organizational chart and share it in an executive meeting or with my CEO or whoever needs that up-to-date chart. Just with that, we've seen our customers save so much time and so much effort in being able to keep up everybody up to date and visible. I can even just search somebody directly into the org chart and be able to find them. So just like we talked about, let's look at somebody's profile so I can get an idea. I'm a new manager. I just started. I don't know much about the people that work for me. I can go into my team and I will see, as you also saw in the org chart, that Beth and Sharon are my direct reports, and they also have Aaron and Sam, respectively, in their organization. I will be able to see any past reviews for Beth. If we have just started our goals, I'll be able to look at their goals, any feedback that they've received in the past. It's all in the same place. If Beth has achieved and has been recognized by her prior manager or her peers for different accolades or culture values that we have as a company, whether it's teamwork or collaboration or we're being good cultural ambassadors, I'll be able to see those badges in her profile. I can learn even more about Beth by seeing when was she hired, what's her tenure, is she a new employee just like me, or she's been in the company for a little bit longer. How do I get in touch with her? If we're using Slack in the company, we'll be able to add the Slack communication and we'll get notifications directly in our Slack channel and look at people's profiles, give and receive high fives, look at the badges that she has received, as I mentioned, any of the skills that she has listed as well. That we'll go through in a little bit. A lot of the companies that we have sometimes, especially if they're in, again, remote locations, we may be looking for a bilingual speaker that because we're in the service industry and we need to be able to communicate, or we may be wanting to track certain certifications because we're in an industry that requires people to be certified in different areas. I'll be able to find those people and the people that have not achieved those certifications, for example, and I'll show you in a little bit how we can do that. In Beth's profile, I can also, again, look at any of her past reviews and the feedback that was given. I can look at the goals that she is working on right now, and I'll walk through that shortly as well. Get a little bit more information and get to know Beth before I go and develop that relationship with her. And I could do the same thing cross-functionally if I have to work with somebody on a team that I've never worked from before. I can get a little bit of information also about their experience. As I mentioned, many items about the employee.
Just to interject, Tanya, the other thing too that might be relevant for the business folks that are on the line is that not only am I learning more about Beth, it's also creating, more unified culture, even if you're a 500-person group, because then I'm able to know what specific traits she has, what she's been acknowledged for. A lot of times I've worked with companies that have gone IPO that the C-level executives or even the managers, don't know the person's name or don't know what her background is or what she's been recognized for. And that's something that, again, we're helping companies identify. It's simple solutions like this that are helping companies be able to grow as an organization and become a team instead of just individual contributors. And that's really the key here. It's about creating that team and atmosphere, getting to know one another so that there's more impact when you interact with those individuals, Tanya.
Right. And it's all about the person. So when that person joins in, we don't talk about, hey, we've added one head count in such and such department. We talk about the person and the person that's joined in and what they'll be able to achieve in our organization. And the more and more we speak in those terms, the more people feel connected because they see that this is a company that cares about me, not about a number, but about the person themselves. So as I mentioned on the skills, you'll be able to track, as you can see here, the variety of skills that different people have. And if I am looking for somebody that has, maybe this is a public education institution, higher education, I can come in and say, oh, who has admission experience? Let me find the people that have it. The same thing with languages, as we mentioned. If there's any Spanish speaking, for example, I'll be able to see all of the employees that have those skills highlighted here. And I can drill down in location. Maybe we work with certain banks. They have a lot of branches. They're constantly looking, what do people know in which branch? Let me find out and see who I can use for a particular project or something that the company needs at this moment. So very, very useful information to have on your employees and make you more streamlined in your learning processes. I mentioned a little bit about when we were going through the profile about the employees' goals. What we also have in the HelloTeam platform is the ability to track and align goals throughout the organization, regardless of what methodology you use as far as performance is concerned, whether it's management by objective or objectives and key results, or goals and sub-goals or tasks, whatever it is. The bottom line is we want to be able to communicate to our existing employees, and especially to the employees that are joining in, what is the company trying to achieve? What are the top 3-5 goals that the CEO has set with their respective department on what they need to accomplish this quarter, those 6 months, this year? So having one centralized place where I can join in on my first day, understand that, okay, this is what we're committed to getting done, just takes away so much from the communication and that we need to do on a daily basis to kind of, to drive that. I can come in here, look at the company goals. I can see who has aligned to this company goal. Who are the people that are driving this? When have they committed to accomplish something? I can look into each department and see, for example, I am as the new CPO in the company, here's the things that I will be working on this quarter. I would be, defining the strategy behind our talent management process. I will be implementing an employee engagement program. I also have to do some hiring. Then I can talk to my team and figure out, okay, what do we need to get done for that objective? In order to finish this objective on time, we need to make sure that we have performed our performance review for this quarter. We have analyzed the data and we have presented that data to the rest of the executive team.
And if I may interject as well, Tanya, the thing is that's relevant here, Tanya, is that it's not just technology, but the best practices that you and Trisha, our other colleague, have been able to provide to clients. We recently worked with a company that had, various ways of capturing the goals for each department, and they were not aligned. One, marketing had one set of goals, sales had a different set of goals, finance and operations had all different set of goals. What it came down to was being able to consolidate all those goals in one single format. and be able to give best practices. What Tanya, who I have to commend on that specific deal, was able to coach them in terms of, this is how you can get more out of your employees in terms of the directors, the direct reports that are cascading those goals to the various staff members to help them all achieve what the end goal was for that executive team. So a lot of times we're not just providing technology, it's also understanding what the end goal is for your organization. And again, each organization has different set of goals in their life cycle of the company, and we figure that out as partners, not just as a vendor.
Yeah, that's right. They had various department leaders, they were asked to write their goals for the quarter and be able to measure and track them. However, each of the departments had them in a variety of different methods. One had used a presentation, a PowerPoint, the other person had written them in an email, the third person just kind of put them on a piece of paper, and that's how they would come to the staff meeting, the executive meeting. And the CEO wasn't able to look at the performance of each department and say, okay, where can I help you? What obstacle do we need to remove in order to move this objective to closure? And by centralizing all those goals, by aligning them to their respective departments and personal goals, they were able to get one picture with one click. This is how we're doing personally. Every person is at this percent of their goal. This is how my department is doing, and this is how the company is doing overall. So when it came time for the performance review, it cut the time in more than half, because everything was in one place. I could look up Peter's goals. I'm able to see how far is he ahead or behind in those goals, provide him the coaching and the feedback so he can achieve the goals, and then be able to excel his performance reviews when we
it's giving some sense of accountability too.
Exactly. So even in personal goals, I can come in and look at mine and say, okay, well, I have Sharon driving this goal, but it's not aligned to anything. Okay, what is her goal aligned to in order to feed the department goal? And I can come in here and select the appropriate personal goals and be able to drive that. So now I can see people are doing things that are not aligned to the company's objectives or the quarterly or my objectives as a whole. So since we're talking a little bit about goals, maybe we'll switch to performance as well and talk about how we do performance with the HelloTeam platform. I will jump over here as an administrator to my manage review section, which is the employees won't be able to see. This is something for you guys to execute the performance reviews, and they'll just see the template that comes into their mailbox to do, or their Slack channel. So what we have is the ability, well, first of all, I should say we don't believe that one size fits all. Some people want to do 360 performance feedback. Some people want to have a self-evaluation of the employee, and a manager and another set of a manager do the evaluation. So there's a variety of ways to accomplish something. We don't dictate any of the methodologies. We make the software as simple and as easy to use so you can do what's best fits your culture, and not try to kind of like push something down that we believe and it may not fit the organization and where it is in its maturity curve. People may be doing an annual performance review, and we may think that you should do one every quarter.
Yep.
No size fits all. You should be able to do it the way you want to do it at the frequency that it best serves the needs of your organization and your executive management. So what we've provided is a way that you can set up different performance review templates, because again, you can pick from a variety of questions. We can also help you with what questions you should be asking and at what frequency, as Peter mentioned, where we want to be your partner and your trusted partner in that sense. And but you should also have the ability to create your own and customize them so they fit the department or the position that you want to evaluate. So you will be maybe want to ask different questions for the sales team versus the operations team versus the business development team or the R&D team. You should have the ability to do that. As I mentioned, you should also have the ability to set it and forget it. So once I identify the type of questions that I want to do and the set of metrics that I would like to cascade or share, then I can set it to be a quarterly or one time or recurring to semi-annually, quarterly, weekly, whatever it is that works for your organization. So let's say I've already done my performance reviews for the quarter. In this case, it's the Q4 of last year. And I have done, in this case, again, a 360. It's not necessary. You can pick 2 or 3 reviewers if that better fits your organization. I want to be able to look at Ryan's performance review results. And I can see that based on the 6 people that we've provided feedback, this is where Ryan is heading. And again, as I mentioned, you can customize your own questions. You can pick the type of scale that you want your people to be measured. You can do open-ended questions. It's a very, very flexible system that works for your team. I'll be able to see as well. I'm just going to quickly scroll down here.
So for my own education here, Tom, if you don't mind me interjecting.
Sure.
I know we're going to be coaching our clients based on the verticals in terms of what we see in terms of best practices. Is this how you're creating the goal, if you don't want me asking? Not to superimpose.
What do you mean? Is this how
to create a goal? To create the goals. That's the first page, correct?
To create this is the result of the performance.
Well, we
feedback.
can go back to the goal setting.
Okay.
I know that was a question from the audience. That's
oh,
why I
okay.
asked.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I didn't mean to interject.
All right. Yes, I can show how we can create those questions as well. Let me just finish with this page. This is where you can see the results from. I will see what Ryan has rated himself. As I can see, is 5 and a fantastic. But I can also see what his team members thought. And if I click on Abigail, I'll be able to see that she has not agreed with Ryan, and she's given them a little bit of a lower response. So what I can also do with this information is I can take a look of what was his prior review and compare the results. Again, as me being a new manager, I don't necessarily know the history of this person, so having that information at my fingertips is really important for me to be able to go back and either coach the manager or coach the exact employee on what they could have done better. So I can see here the difference between the performance ratings that he has received in the past. And I can see that they have not improved, they're slipping. So now I can have a different type of conversation, as I mentioned, either with their manager or with the employee themselves. So before I take the question of how we can set up performance reviews, I also wanted to show the general analytics we can provide based on all of the performance reviews that we have. And this is a very, very powerful feature in our platform. Based on each question, I am able to see where the employees fall into a particular question. So I can see for a particular competency, who are my top performers? I can see that Beth is amazing in this, and there may be other people that are struggling with that. Again, now I have the basis of going in and having those conversations with the right people in order to coach them for them to get as better employees.
Well, I also think this is relevant too, if you don't mind me interjecting, Tanya, because having been a sales leader for some time, when I know that someone's not excelling, it's going to be allowing me to, figure out what needs to be done to improve those people. based on this performance.
Mm-hmm.
And then also when I'm looking for new talent, I'm going to be able to have metrics in terms of why is on the right-hand side that individual is exceeding those goals.
That's right.
So it helps me be able to retain top talent and then coach people to stay within the organization if they're willing to be coached. Because at the end of the day, as everyone knows on this call, it's very tough to hire top talent nowadays and also retain that top talent, and there's a cost of acquisition. So when I look at this, the dashboard allows me in terms of performance reviews to get a better pulse and sense of what needs to be done to improve so that I can achieve my goals as a leader as well.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yep. And I know we're getting questions from the audience. It's we may have to take this right after because there's still quite a bit more to show. As I mentioned, we will. This is how you would set up a performance review, for example. You would pick from the questions, or you will set up your own question. You will set up sort of the way that you want those scale type questions to show. Or if it's a scale type question, I'm able to pick, rate this person on X, Y, and Z from 1 to 10, whatever that is. So from that, I also wanted to jump into surveys and talk a little bit about that as well. So we have enough time to cover everything that we wanted to cover. We have the ability to do engagement surveys very much as in the way that we were doing performance reviews. You can pick from the templates that we have, whether it's you want to do a big annual engagement type survey or break it down on a quarterly basis, or you want to just check on the employee net promoter score or how they're doing during the day, new hire, or how are you doing in your first 90 days, and kind of have that benchmark. You can do all this from the system and be able to analyze the results directly from here. For example, one of the things that is very, very commonly used throughout our client base is the ability to nominate certain people for Employee of the Quarter. And let's say I have 5 values, and each quarter I want to nominate 5 employees that exhibit those values. I'll be able to set up a survey, set it, and then each quarter the employees will be able to vote, and I will see the responses directly in my team. Again, everything's confidential and anonymous. All of the surveys are. I'm not able to look at who Aaron or Cora voted for. All I can see is that the majority of the people has picked Abigail for the award Win as a Team. Same thing with the results of our the rest of our surveys. If I've done a big employee engagement surveys, I want to know how are people feeling and be able to compare the results to the previous time that we ran this survey. I have this information all at my fingertips, again, anonymously. I will not be able to figure out who has responded, so people feel safe that they can express their opinions. Same thing with we have a virtual suggestion box where you can do the same thing, click anonymous, and I will receive, as an HR administrator, your complaint or your feedback, and not be able to, know who sent that to me. So if you're a remote employee, that's a perfect way for you to express your feedback before it makes it to Glassdoor or some other channel that you don't want your employees to be expressing their grievances, for example.
And a lot of companies today are using Glassdoor, Tanya, especially millennials or even people who are more tenured in terms of the life cycle of employment. And when I've seen something like this as being more proactive, like you mentioned, I think one of the things that we embrace here at HelloTeam is acknowledging the 5 pillars that we're achieving, at least from a sales perspective, Tanya. We give out awards on a quarterly basis. Tricia won the last quarter's award in terms of exceeding her sales numbers, but more importantly, embracing the team. What I mean by embracing the team, taking the time to coach people, to be able to sit down with them during their one-on-one, even though they're not her direct reports, so that she can help me help others become the next Trishas. So I'll give a big round of kudos to her in that regards.
Yep.
But it allows employees, again, to embrace one another, to strive to be better so that they can maybe get those acknowledgments and awards. But also at the same time, it helps unify the culture again. It creates that team atmosphere.
Yep, that's right. And lastly, what I want to touch upon is our people analytics module. Again, if you think about it, there's many ways for us to get information about, how many people work in the company, or analyze that information. You may have something as far as a spreadsheet or something that you're taking from your payroll system. Our ability is to kind of consolidate all of the information, especially when it comes to contractors and people that are not working in the U.S., that may be working remotely outside of the U.S., and being able to see everybody in the same platform, and being able to run those people analytics reports, so it can help executive management and yourself make decisions about future hires. So tracking, headcount, company hiring for the year, being able to put the face next to the name and know who these people are, and be able to drill down to their profiles, hiring by department. Again, as we mentioned, that employees should not be just referred to as there's 2 new headcount in our engineering department. It's who are these people that we hired? Let me learn a little bit more about them. Being able to drill down and just make this very interactive. I can switch the different times for each of these reports. I can, let's say, let me show all of the hiring that we did last year. How many people did we hire per month? So what is our average? So we know what to anticipate. Throughout the whole report, I can just quickly even pick certain departments, and it will drill down and just show me those departments, that specific department, and everything that was related to that. So I'm able to see, let's say, hiring by year for engineering. All right, we hired 8 people the 2017 to 3 to 2. So we just make all of these analytics, and there's a ton of them, so I won't be able to go through all of them. There's literally hundreds of reports at your fingertips, but everything is calculated automatically, from retention to the specific departments. You can pinpoint your highest turnover type departments, and maybe correlate that with your employee engagement surveys, and look at why are they not happy in this particular department? Why are they leaving? What is the cause of it? Then I can look at my turnover reporting and drill down in that and say, okay, let me just quickly go down to turnover by month and be able to say, okay, was this a voluntary or involuntary terminations that we've been having? What is the reason? Are people leaving because they're not finding the culture fit? Is it benefits? Is it the compensation? Have they found a different career opportunity? So now I'm able to correlate the grievances people have in our engagement surveys to the department, to the location, to the position, to the tenure, and to the reason of why they're leaving. And I can take that as information, discuss it with the CFO or the CEO of my organization, and prove to them why we need to invest in certain areas in the organization so we can fix. And sometimes it's little things that don't cost that much money, but we need to bring them up to the surface and kind of bring the evidence with us, so to say, in order to get that budget
and that's where,
justified.
And just to interject, Tanya, this is where the coaching comes in terms of us being consultants from the sales side, because we're really on a case-by-case basis. We're drilling into these specific questions with our clients and with our prospects to understand what the culture they're trying to set forth and drive, number one. And number two, what are the challenges these people are facing? Because not one size fits all. Everything from the employee surveys that you've shown, the achievements, the recognition for one's staff, the understanding of people's culture and the pedigrees, as well as these people analytics, help a company during that specific life cycle of their company. And some companies are going to use us for surveys. Some companies are going to use us for the analytics. Some companies will use us for all the services. But that we can determine on a case-by-case basis.
That's right. And this is where we said, again, we want to be trusted partners to each of the organizations that we work with. And we would love to get, I see there's a lot of questions that are coming in for specific things that people are interested in. Let's get on a conversation after the webinar with one of our consultants, and we'll be able to drill down a little deeper into what your challenges are, what your needs are. And as Peter mentioned, not one size fits all. We're able to work with each organization, pinpoint that need, and really work on that before we even move to other areas of the functionality or the product.
Yeah. So, again, to recap, what I would take away, Tanya, is that first and foremost, I can acknowledge the passion that we have here at HelloTeam. I'm going to have to give my colleague, my CEO, a high five after this meeting for partaking and taking the time out of your day. And I'll give a high five to the audience as well, because the thing is, we value your participation, we value your feedback, and we are always looking to improve ourselves, because we take what we're learning from our clients to improve our offering each and every day. And we are taking the best practices from our clients as well, so that we can replicate it, or at least give proper judgment calls in terms of what you could do to implement to improve the culture, to improve the well-being of your most valued asset, your employees.
That's right. And even to this day, and it may sound funny to everybody, but I also enjoy getting a high five and seeing my little picture with a word of thank you and making it visible throughout. And that's what keeps me motivated to come to work every day and continue to share, my passion with the rest of the team. So it's the little things that make a big difference in our lives. That's the bottom line.
So we have a few minutes left over. Again, we'd be glad to schedule some time with the folks that are on this webinar to do a more in-depth overview. But before we even do that, what I like to do is have you guys think about, again, how you can implement and how can you utilize a tool like ours that's very unique in the industry, and very unique because of one reason: the people behind it. That are going to be able to give you those best practices, not just the technology that comes with it. But again, if you want further information, and Tanya is going to be sharing this webinar to the folks that were not able to participate, and for folks that want to drill into certain areas that are of pain or that are looking to be achieved in this fiscal year, we'll be glad to schedule some time in the future with you.
All right. Well, with that, let's thank our audience for sticking with us through this demo. And we do those about once a month, and sometimes we switch them up. Sometimes it's thought leadership, sometimes it's a platform demo. So we'd love to see you on the next demo as well that we'll be doing later this month. That's right.
All right. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your days.